Can you introduce yourself, Cesare? Briefly, I'm going to ask you some questions. Go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much, Hubert, for giving me the opportunity to participate to this webinar. Hello, everyone. So, as Hubert already anticipated, I'm an Italian student. I graduated at Loyola University Chicago, so I did a bachelor in business administration. Then right after that, I decided to do an experience at McKinsey & Company in Milan. I worked there as a research analyst. And then right after that, I embarked on a new path with Hubert, and I did a very serious program involved with preparing myself for being admitted at HEC, but also many different schools. And the process was very successful. So looking forward to explaining you this.
Now, basically, so the first thing that I want to see with you is that, of course, why should I go for a master's? Alors, basically, what is available and why should I go for a master's? Alors, basically, you should go for a master's because when you have a bachelor, the bachelor remains a degree that is very theoretical. And what I've noticed, especially in Italy, because of the issue that you may have with having to retake the exams in September, you have very little work experience. So it's difficult to get a very good job after a bachelor. Okay. The second thing that you have, there's something very specific to Italy, Spain, and Portugal, and Greece as well, is that salaries for young graduates in Italy are very low. Okay. You have to see that post HEC salary is how much? 80,000 euros. How much is it, Cesare? 80,000? Something like that?
Yes, around that.
Sorry for what happened. You know, I lost my connection. I'm at home today. Of course, it happens. So basically what I want to say is that when you come from Italy, one of the issues that you have is also to find a decent job and well paid. And of course, that's also something that you have to consider. That's why many Italian, Spanish, or Portuguese students decide to study either in the UK, in Germany, or France, or Switzerland, where post-master salary are higher. But then, of course, you have another option, which is what type of program should I choose? Because we discuss the STAR program is the MIM. So we notice that 85% of the students in Europe will take, for instance, an MIM, okay, and 10% probably an MIF, and the rest is Master in Data Science and entrepreneurship. So basically, the four programs that are picked up, it's always MIM, Master in Finance, Master in Entrepreneurship, Master in Data Science. So the greatest program is the MIM. Why did you pick up an MIM, you, Cesare, whereas you already have a degree in business?
Yes, so I decided to do a master in management because I wanted to really apply for, first of all, I wanted to reinforce my business skills, and I wanted to apply for a top business school. I remember when I finished my experience at McKinsey, and that I wanted really to come back at McKinsey stronger and cover up a better position. So this is actually when we started to meet Hubert, and I remember that you suggested me to apply for a specific master that would have gave me the possibility to not only reinforce my knowledge and competencies around each part, each bit of business, but also give me the opportunity to specialize later on in a specific field. So the benefit of having an overall program that gives you business knowledge in every little aspect, and then the opportunity to target specifically what's your wish.
Yeah, so basically you have to understand so that the MIM is a general management degree, okay, that is mainly used by people who want to work in consulting, and then you have specialized programs. So of course, if you want to work in finance, it's better to do, for instance, an MIF, okay, which is a master in finance. If you want to do marketing, master in marketing. Now what happens is that there is also something else that you have to consider. It is the location. Because in France, that's why, for instance, Cesare decided to study at HEC. The masters, the MIMs are 2-year programs. Okay, so meaning that you can have the first year is really like an MIM. So say you have a general management degree, like the same type of degree that you could have at INSEAD or LBS, and then on year 2, you will have a specialization. Okay. And what happens is that a lot of students also decide to do something else, which is to take year one, master's, to take a gap year. Okay. So to work in a company for 1 year because you're still young, and then specialize on your three. So a lot of the people who do an MIM in the French programs will do 3-year programs. So of course, imagine that after 3 years, you are more capable of getting a good job than after 1 year at LBS or INSEAD. So that's something that you really have to consider, especially when you have very little work experience. I consider, let's imagine that you went to Bocconi. For many reasons, you could not have many internship, maybe only one, because you had to retake some exam, whatever. And then you're going to LBS, and you have to know that at LBS, the job interviews are in September, October. So it means that imagine that you studied, I don't know, economics, but you have very theoretical understanding of business. You had like a 2-month internship with your uncle company, and then you suddenly have an interview with AT Kearney. You will fail. Okay. It's impossible. Okay. And me, I noticed this issue very well because I train MBA students from London Business School. So I have a lot who ask me to train them for the interview with BCG, Bain, McKinsey. And I see that they usually have the interviews in January, February of the first year because they're asking for internship because the MBA at LBS is an internship. And I can see that after 4 months, they don't have enough knowledge to apply for a job. Okay. The effect of the degree is going to take you 6 to 9 months. You agree, Cesare, so that really you have learned enough so that you feel comfortable with a business case. It's not something that you can do 2 weeks after having started LBS. It's impossible. Okay. So that's something that you really have to consider. Okay. We have Emilia who is with us. Emilia, where are you? She came and she left. Yeah, Emilia. Emilia, you want to introduce yourself a bit? Emilia? Yeah.
Yeah. I've applied to many schools last year, and I have been accepted to IE, and I'm not now enrolled at IE master program. I have a background in economics and management of art at Cattolica di Milano. And I did 2 internships before applying, one in a museum, La Triennale di Milano, and another one in a theater, and then decided to go forward a more economic path. So I applied to these schools, and I've been accepted also to the ESCP and HALT and Polytechnical for the marketing path. And nothing, I then chose to go to IE. And I like it very much. I'm here, I've been here for 1 month. I chose the January intake, and I'm enjoying it very much. I'm really happy about my choice.
Yeah. So basically, a question for you, Emilia. So we are discussing the question 2 years versus 1 year. So you know that ESCP is a 2-year program, and IE is a 1-year program, as far as I know.
Yeah.
Why have you taken a 1-year program versus 2-year program?
I chose IE because I think it's a very international environment, and I can confirm this. I'm in a group of people, and no one is from Italy, and we have nationalities from all over the world. So it's very, very international, and this helps a lot when you do projects, and it really makes the school a dynamic place. And for the 1 year, I think that if you have a very good school, in 1 year you can do the same thing and maybe even better because you're very concentrated about what you're doing. So I guess I'm doing this 1 year, and we already have a super career service, which is supporting us a lot. And since the first week and even before, we were having a class about how to be successful in our career. So we have our personal counselor, and we do meetings, and I have already access to graduate programs. So I'm going to do my first interviews and applications next month. And I'm only in my 2nd month here at IE. So I choose the school, and I guess that it's good enough and it will support me in my career path.
Okay, so that's why you have chosen. So you wanted something faster versus something a bit longer. Okay. Alors, you both, you're doing the MIM at IE, Emilia? Yes, you're doing the MIM? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm doing the MIM and with specialization in international business.
Okay.
And there are also other specializations which are more focused on finance, marketing, and so on. But you can choose that even until March. You have time while you're at school to understand what you want to do.
Okay, so that's a good thing to know. So someone asked me, so basically, as I said, 85% of our students apply for MIM. You have to know one of the reasons is that, for instance, in many countries, the MIM is the flagship program. For instance, at HEC, the MIM is the flagship program. Same thing at ESCP, same thing at ESSEC, because that's what we call a Grande École program. So that this one has a lot of prestige. Okay, it's true that in the other programs, in the other countries, there's not much difference between an MIM and an MIF. Okay, the same prestige. So someone asked me, if I go to France, okay, should I go for an MIM or an MIF? If you're sure that you want to work in investment banking, go for an MIF. If you have still some doubt, you can get an MIM, because as I told you, on year one of the MIM is very general management education. Year two, you can do an internship, what we call a gap year, and then you can specialize. So if you know what you want to do, go for a specialized master's, okay, because they are also very prestigious, okay. And if you don't know, the MIM, be careful. For instance, so the top MIF in the world, that's LBS, LSE, Imperial, HEC, ESSEC, ESCP, EDEC. IE has a very good one as well. But at ESCP, the program is in French and English, because the first 6 months are in France and the last 6 months are on the London campus. Okay, so that's the first thing. So basically, it's interesting because Emily, she has decided to ignore the rankings. Okay, she has decided to say I will do 1 year versus 2 years. Okay, many people, for instance, are a bit scared also by the economic situation, and they may say, oh, it's preferable maybe that I go for a 2-year program because the economy may be better next year. So of course, that's something that you take into account. Sorry?
Can I add something?
Yeah. What would you add, Emilia? Yes. Yeah.
That if you want during the MIMI, you can also do some months later if you want. So you can do some electives or choose another track. So you can do one year and a half after you graduate. For example, I'm graduating in December, but if I want to, I can go on and study until March or June or whatever I want to. So they let you study if you want to study more, but they're very focused. So they help you a lot finding the job even in 1 year.
Okay. Alors, the second thing that you have, once you have decided that you want to go for the master's, usually people, they will choose 1 year and 2-year programs. And you see what happens usually, people consider ranking. Okay. So imagine that you have an idea of the ranking. So number 1, Saint-Gallen, number 2 would be HEC, number 3 probably LBS, and then they would say that there's also a very good program that has just opened. It's INSEAD, and INSEAD is already in the top 5 in Europe, even though they are not ranked yet. Okay, so basically that's where they stand, and of course IE is an elite program. It is in the top 10 in Europe. Okay. The second step that you need to consider if you decide to go for an MIM or an MIF is that you have to apply. So a lot of you probably are Bocconi students. So when you're Bocconi students, you remember that you have to prepare an exam, and you have to pass. You have to come out the Bocconi test. So you have to send your application. You have to pass. So basically, the application in a top masters is very close to the application that you had for Bocconi, except that the test is probably a bit more difficult than the Bocconi test. Okay. By the way, neither Emilia nor Cesare, because Cesare you studied in the US, Emilia you studied at a different school, took the Bocconi test, but basically you have to take a test. So, alors, basically, Cesare, what has been your experience of preparing the test and the application? How long did you take? Can you
yes. So I started to apply around like March, I would say. I applied to many different schools. If I remember correctly, there were around like 10 different schools. So among these, yeah, definitely there was Politecnico, there was Cattolica. So I was basically undecided between Master in Finance and a Master in Management. The reason for this is that I have a strong passion for investment banking. So I didn't really know whether I should have done a very specific program in finance or basically do a Master in Management and then go into finance. So then apparently the situation went pretty good. So I decided to go to HSA. But overall, the process of application was different for different schools. So if you guys want, I can talk about HSA. So for HSA, basically, I applied for the 4th round, which was
which is late, which is super.
Yeah,
late.
it's later.
Yeah.
It's later. It's in April. Yes. So for the application, definitely
So I remember. Sorry, Cesar,
Yeah,
to stop you, but you sent the application in April, something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was
Which is,
the
of course,
28th.
very late and very risky. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I did is that I prepared the GMAT together with you, Hubert, as well. And yeah, definitely HSA requires a high score. I would say depending on the master, I would say for finance, you would need like a 700, 720. For the master in management, I would say 680, something like that, just to have a chance to get in. Yeah, but overall, the application was composed of writing essays, so basically motivational essays, essentially. And then also there was an interesting question talking about like an emerging business issue that I was interested about. So the questions stayed the same. There are 3 essays, and during the application process, you select your first choice, which for me was the Master in Management, and the second choice, which for me was the Master in Finance. So yeah, I mean, the process was pretty straightforward. It wasn't too long. I mean, HSA let me know about my confirmation for the next round interview pretty soon. They're very efficient with that, as with the other schools. I mean, also the other schools were very efficient as well. So I mean, yeah, if you guys have any questions, more detailed, I can definitely.
I will write to you. Now, basically, you have to see that it takes a lot of time to prepare the application and prepare the test, but it takes the decision process is very fast. Normally HEC is 5 weeks, and I would say that IE must be something similar. Okay?
Yeah, I would say, sorry, Uber. I would say that when you select your schools, think about it very carefully, because this is a choice that you're making that is very, very important. I mean, first of all, if you're deciding to walk into a master, it has to be exactly the program that you're looking for. I would suggest to contact the alumni of the school, just to get a gist of what the program is like, because every school is very different, and what you're trying to get out of it, it's really based upon what you like. It doesn't have to be the best school or ranked or the worst school or whatever. Like, it has to be the program you like. It has to be at the school that you really desire. So that's very important. So think about it. This seems to be like a point that is overlooked many times, but choosing the right school is very important.
So tell me, you, Emilia, so you chose to take the IE test. So can you explain your MIM preparation journey and how you came up to prepare the IE test for IE? Can you explain to us?
Yeah. So I started, I would say, late. So I had to rush to prepare the GMAT, and I prepared it in like 2 months, and I wanted to apply before March.
Yeah.
So I took the GMAT twice, but the score was not that high enough. So some school accepted it, but I had to take the the internal test for IE, and so I had some more time to prepare it, and it was successful. So I did the GMAT, which is the IE internal test, and then my interview, and by March I was accepted by IE, and yeah, I started now in January.
Yeah, you agree? So basically, what I want to say is that if you want to take the GMAT, you can take the GMAT, but there are also in-house tests. So basically, what are the schools that have in-house tests? So ESCP has its own test called SHL. Institut Impresa has its own test called IGAT. And there's a school, for instance, in Belgium, it's called Vlerick Business School, that has its own test called the VBA. And then some schools make the GMAT optional, okay, like Imperial or City, and others do not even ask for it, like Cranfield or Warwick Business School, okay. So basically, it happened to me that I have students, for instance, who prepare the GMAT, who don't do very well, and then we're going to choose a master in management, for instance, a master in economics at Imperial College that does not require the GMAT, okay? And the same applies to CT or LSE. So finally, that's the interesting example with Emilia, is that Cesare got a very good GMAT and he got HEC. Emilia, she decided to take the in-house test. So at the end, you get in. That's why you have to consider that your project is a project, and don't say it will depend on my GMAT. So, okay, I have my project, I have HEC, okay, they ask for the GMAT. If I don't have HEC, I will go to see people like MBA Center and they will find me a good program at Imperial College or LSE, or even a program without it, or there are always options. Okay, at the end, the objective is that you get a job in a top company. Okay, and that will help you. Okay, basically what you have to consider is that schools anyway.
Sorry, Hubert, I just want to add one thing about Imperial College, because I applied to Imperial College as well. And I remember that it was the first school I applied for. And I wasn't really interested in Imperial College, to be honest. I just applied. And I didn't do I didn't send the GMAT attached to my application, and I got rejected. So maybe for Imperial College, I would suggest that even if the GMAT is optional, to send it, because I would say the competition is pretty strong for that school, and a lot of people are sending the GMAT to stand out since it's optional. Yeah. So I would say if you apply for Imperial College, do the GMAT, even if it's optional.
But if you have, for instance, if you have good grades, okay?
I had good grades.
You had good grades, but sometimes but you need to have like excellent grades. But if you have excellent grades, excellent, like a GPA of 4 out of 4, maybe we at the same time, from a very reputable school, you may apply without the GMAT, but of course it's a bit risky. Okay, but normally if you have excellent grades from an excellent academic institution, you should have a good GMAT. Okay, unless of course you say I studied humanities, liberal arts. But you see, I give you an example. I have many LSE students who study something called PPE, which is philosophy, politics, and economics, and these people, they are not into math. They still, after some work, they still get 680. And the schools understand that's something that you have to see. They will understand that if you study philosophy and if you get already 680, it's outstanding. Okay. So it means that you have very good analytical and quantitative skills, because it's very rare that someone who studies philosophy or politics gets such a high score. Okay. So they will distinguish. Of course, if you're Indian and you studied you're mechanical engineer and you get 680, it's pretty good. So they will distinguish who gets what. Okay. So now, the second question, it's the question about the GMAT, okay? Because it's a question that comes over and over, and I always try to have with me a GMAT expert, okay? Emilia, can you explain to us what is the GMAT, what it is made of, and your experience with the GMAT? Because it's something that, anyway, it's through a GMAT center that I met you. It's through the GMAT or the GRE that they will attack the admission process. So can you tell us more about this test, Emilia? Hello?
Sorry.
Emilia? So can you tell us more about the test? How is it designed? Because you agree that when someone wants to go for an MIM, he or she will first say, okay, I have to prepare my test. You agree? They will not say, I will choose a school. They say, first I will prepare my test. I will see what score I get. And depending on the score, I will go for it or not. So can you explain to us what is the GMAT and what has been your experience preparing it?
Yeah, so you have two different parts. There is the more quantitative part, and then the English part, the comprehensive, and you have to read text and understand about the comprehension of the test. And they're both really challenging. So not only the quantitative part. And you have to practice a lot, and it's all about getting used to the logic of the GMAT, because once you got the logic, you can go faster. So you need, I would say, at least 2 months to get into the logic of what's the GMAT about, and then you need to practice a lot to make it your own test. And yeah, also it's important to know that every answer you give, it's registered, and it makes each answer depends from the previous one. So if you give bad answers, the next answer will be easy, but that's not good, because it means that you're getting a low GMAT. So it's important that you keep scoring high from the beginning, and that you don't give wrong answers, like a lot of wrong answers in a row. And yeah, I would say to once you got the logic, to practice, and then you will do it fine. Like, it's just a matter of time.
And so, that's why Emilia, she's very right. So it's a problem of time. So I talk to many people, and imagine I will meet you now. You're going to talk to Maria, and you say, oh, it's not for now, it's for 2022. And what they don't understand is that if you want to send an application and to be eligible for the program that starts in 2022, you probably have to start now. Okay, meaning what? Meaning that you have to first prepare the GMAT. So let's say between February and July, GMAT and TOEFL, it would take you 6 months, and already 6 months is not that much. Okay. Then in August, September, you write your application. October, November, you have interviews, and you get the final answer late November, early January, December. So basically, all that to tell you that one of the key aspects of success is preparation and giving you enough time. So I've seen many students, for instance, who have failed because they have been unable to prepare efficiently. Okay, you agree? So that's something that I've noticed a lot of time. And imagine that you start preparing in February, you don't feel at ease, so you say, I'm going to spend my summer on it. Whereas if you start to say, I will prepare for it in October, then you have exams, then you don't have much time. And then the end of the season arrives pretty early. You also have to understand that the sooner you apply, the better. Okay. Even though schools know that they will receive application into April, if they have a very good application, they will not refuse the candidate. It may be that at the end of the process in April, they receive a very good candidate and say, okay, I cannot take you. For instance, an example of a student, for instance, applying for the HEC MBA, so it's a different type of program, who applied in December for a program starting in January, it was still around, it was still eligible, but they say, look, we have no seats available, we apply next year. So it will be a bit terrible. So try to prepare early so that you can apply early. You can say nothing except my GMAT and my application will be an obstacle. Okay, I don't want also to have another problem, which is I applied too late and there are very few seats left. At the same time, that's what Cesare did because he applied late. But I think it was last year, as you know, there was the COVID situation. So many people probably did not apply in February, March, and they received a lot of application in April. I remember that it was the first round, and they still took a lot of students because they knew that the situation was a bit specific. But last year was really a very, very specific year. Huh? Okay.
I agree with you, Robert.
Yeah. So now, so what is you did not say in Italy, but what is the difference now that you are at HEC, of being on a campus of the number 2 best business school in Europe? What difference does it make? What are you experiencing there that is a bit unique?
Okay, so right now I'm still in Genova because basically classes are going to be back in person starting from Monday. So I'm going to leave tomorrow. But yeah, the semester has finished on the 16th of December. And I can give you my opinion based on the first semester, since this one has just started. So at the beginning, the school was very good at managing basically a hybrid situation. I know that also IE is very good at doing that. So basically what the hybrid modality is about is that you're taking basically you're split into two different groups. We're split into Group A and Group B, and we go basically in the class physically on a given date, and then on the other day in that specific week we are online. So this gives the students the possibility to stay on campus rather than staying home, and the experience of the campus is very remarkable. I mean, the campus is not too big, and I feel that that's a very good advantage for HSC students, because there is really a strong opportunity to meet everyone. My dorm happens to be attached to the T building where we have classes, but it's also very close to the football field where basically when we have time we go there and play. It's very close to the gym. So the campus is geographically built in a way such that everyone can interact with each other. And that's very important, because the campus experience is very valuable to me, because it's not only about studying and getting your degree and getting experience throughout your gap year, which I applied for, by the way. It's going to start in May. But it's also about meeting people that are going to accompany you for the rest of your life. I believe in that a lot. And right now, for instance, in my dorm, basically we know each other very well. There is a very strong sympathy between the students. And even if the campus right now, it's not at full capacity because of the situation, the school is imposing measures such that more students can come back. And this is why right now they just did the massive COVID testing. And luckily, most of the students turned out to be negative. So right now, a lot of students are going back to campus. So that's very good.
Yeah, because what you have to see that there was a big, there are many people contaminated. We had a lot of students who got contaminated and had to go back home, of course. So basically what Cesare was trying to explain is that they have what we call now something called hybrid learning. We have part of your classes on the HSC campus and part of your classes online. And that's why many people go back home to study. Of course, you lose a lot of the experience. That's one of the advantages of getting a 2-year program. Of course, Cesare, you're going to have this year, which is a bit special. Then you study, you work for 1 year, and when you come back in September 2022, we should get rid of the COVID by then. Okay, what is the experience at IE? What is the current situation at IE? You have hybrid learning, or you have classes as usual? How does it work, Emilia?
Well, at IE, we're about 300 students for the MIM, and we are divided into sections. And normally, all the section would do the class together, but because of COVID, we have been divided into groups. So each group would contain 25. And we were currently going to school. Like every day, we were able to attend. And if someone, for any reason, can't go, you can just follow the lesson by Zoom. So we have still some people who are abroad, and they can't come because they don't have their visa, or if they had some contact with a positive of COVID, they can stay home and follow the class. But I've always gone to school, and this is very important to me because you can really appreciate the program much better. And I also thinks that participation is one of the most important things. So each class would be composed by an individual assessment, a group project, and participation. And we were very pushed participate, and we're allowed to do so because we are allowed to go to the campus. And also there are a lot of clubs, and you can join the club that is most like we have consulting clubs, marketing clubs. So whatever you would like to do, you have a club to connect with other people and to foster your interest and to meet new people. And also there is a venture lab, which is a lab for entrepreneurship. So if you like entrepreneurship, I think that this school is one of the best ones, because you're very pushed to think about problems and how to solve these problems. So they really push a lot of students to think as entrepreneur. Like, even if you don't want to be an entrepreneur, it's like a mindset which helps a lot. So I'm having quite a good experience here, and like Cesare said, also the environment is very good. So I met a lot of open-minded people, and it's really a good environment where to study and to be for the MIM.
Yes, of course, it's very good. So thank you very much. So what are the Cesare, are you still with us? Yes. So yeah. Cesare, what are in 1 minute, what are the pieces of advice that you would give to students who are interested into MBAs, into a master's? People who are in your situation. So we have Italians today.
Yes.
What piece of advice would you give them?
Yes, I would say prepare the GMAT and apply as soon as possible, and make sure that your essays are outstanding, because this is what makes the difference. And the interviews are not, they're not hard, to be honest, but just make sure that you have a very strong motivation for the school.
Emilia, what would you say?
Yeah, I would say the same thing that said Cesare, and also for I saw that they appreciated a lot my background in art, because, for example, in our class, there are not only people from finance and economics, but we have people who studied law or psychology. So they really like this diverse environment. So express your motivation at the interview. They would love to see you motivated. And if you have any other experiences like volunteer or artistic or whatever, which is not correlated with your main bachelor in economics or finance, just express it, because they will like it a lot.
Has someone a question for us or not? Hello. For instance, I see that there is Lorenzo. For instance, Lorenzo, you have a question that you'd like to ask after this webinar? Has someone a question? Okay, if you don't. So basically, Maria is in charge of Italy, and because we have account managers in charge of different parts of Europe, and she will revert to you. So basically, if you want to start your masters in 2021, but hurry up, and because you have 2 months maximum to get ready. So it's possible, but okay. If you're still a second year student, but then what you can do is take the next 6 months, prepare your GMAT or your GRE or whatever test that you need. Then the rest of the summer to work on your application. Okay. And so that you can send your application in September, in October, and have an answer late November, early December. It will give you time to get organized. You will not be stressed this year with your exams. You can find time to get scholarship, so it's probably optimal. Okay. Thank you very much for being with us. I know it's a Saturday, not easy. I was glad to talk to you. Have a good day. Thank you very much, Emilia. Thank you very much, Cesare. Of course, you can contact Emilia and Cesare if need be. There is a lot going on. Thank you very much. It was nice to have you. Bye bye.